Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. Got the old guitar all finished up perfectly. Pretty happy with the whole thing. Buffed this out some. It's still a little bit noticeable, but no more noticeable than just the normal scratches and things, so I don't feel like it's a big deal. It's in pretty darn good shape, really. It sounds really good. Got the new saddle built for it and everything, and I thought I'd just play you a tune on it, despite what my squirrel hating friend says. I got to hand it to you. You got a great attitude. You keep that gleam in your eye much better than I when the chips are down. It always shows on your face. That look just gives it away. Guess that's the beauty of you. Your love shining through on the darkest day. You don't ever stop smiling. You don't ever look like anything's gone wrong. You're there on my wall to remind me of all the love we had. I just look at you there. Oh, and sometimes I swear I hear you say everything is okay, it'll be alright. Wish I had your point of view. See things the way that you do. 'Cause it ain't all black and white. Just living my life and missing you. You don't ever stop smiling. You don't ever look like anything's gone wrong. You're there on my wall to remind me of all the love we had. No, you don't ever stop smiling. You don't ever look like anything's gone wrong. You're there on my wall to remind me of all the love we had. Chirp, chirp. Oh, that's a good sounding old guitar, though. That's for darn sure. Bill did a good job putting her together with a little bit of assistance. Video news, good news, bad news. The good news is I spent, well, see, I didn't spend any of the morning, but I spent all afternoon working on a video. I spent about 2.5 hours, I guess you'd say, trying to put together the video on repairing this guitar and then setting it up. Because I thought that's probably what you guys have been waiting for the most, is another instrument video. So I'm working on that. So that's the good news. I got into it about 30 minutes. So I got about 30 minutes of completed video. The bad news is I still got 2.5 hours worth of raw video footage that I hadn't even looked at yet. So that's going to take a while. It's going to take at least the rest of the day today to get through all that. You'd think you could get through it faster, but you can't. It takes forever. It's like I said, and people, I think, really think you make these things up. But if it takes you 1 hour to shoot the video, it will take you 4 hours minimum to edit that video. It's just nuts how long it takes. So an hour to do the job and 4 hours to make the video. It's just nuts. And this one took about 4 hours, so you can imagine I've probably got 14, 16 hours to go before it's going to be finished. It's a big job. It really is. I don't know how I did it all these years. I was a lot younger then. Well, I noticed that Rod Wintler was already the first one again this morning. And Dottie Hildebrandt was second this morning. And Dave Hunt was in there, and Bill Roach. Bill Roach says, woohoo, let's hear that chirping squirrel. Well, you know, like Bill Webb said, squirrels don't chirp, they bark. They go. That's how squirrels sound. So if that sounds like a chirp to you, buddy, you're off on a different planet. Let's see. Looking for questions or comments here. Dottie says, give us your best squirrel. Well, that was about as good as I can do, so that's about as good as it gets. Bill says it's wet and cold in Commerce. Well, it's very wet here, but it warmed up. Over the night, the temperatures were above 35, which is wonderful. So when I went out this morning to get in the Ranger, I was thinking it might still have ice on it, but it was all gone. It was just water, and it rained quite a bit over the night again, too. Not a lot, not a hard rain, just kind of a drizzly type rain. You know, it's really not much of a rain. But it's not even really enough to do anything. You know, like I built that pond back this summer, and it still don't have any water in it. And I'm pretty sure it's just because we just haven't had any rain. I mean, we get a little bit of rain, but it's just enough to settle the dust. It's not enough to run off, you know. Let's see. Moving on down. I'm reading all the comments there, but I'm just looking for anything I need to respond to or reply to. Bill Webb, love the song, best sounding squirrel I've ever heard. Well, thank you, Bill. Chirp, chirp. Ronald Todd, very nicely done, Jerry, especially this early in the morning. Yeah, it's not always easy to, you know, most musicians, as I said, don't get out of bed till noon. That's kind of the truth of it. I'm an exception. That's why I'm not really a musician. I get up early. Let's see. I think that's actually part of a prerequisite. You have to sleep in to be a musician. Or maybe just a really good musician, you have to sleep in. You know, I not to beat this to death, but I thought it was pretty funny or humorous, and I feel like I'm walking in high cotton, really, because did you guys notice that the Acoustic Shop boys put out a video on all their haters, they, you know, like all their hateful comments that they get, you know, like, you sound like XYZ and you can't play for, you know, whatever. And, you know, it's just all kinds, they got all kinds of really rude comments. And so they put out a whole video reading the rude comment and, you know, and replying to it, which mostly they just kind of said, well, yeah, that's partially true. But I feel like I'm in really good company. If those guys get negative comments, well, shoot, no more than I get. I'm thinking, man, I'm walking in tall cotton. I think that was funny. If you haven't seen it, it's a good video. You should go watch it. It's from, and they just put it out either over the weekend or maybe late last week. The Acoustic Shop in Springfield, Missouri. So if you don't know who I'm talking about, that's the Chapmans. And by the way, that song I just sang, I got that from the Chapmans. They had that recorded on their album, which you can also hear out on YouTube. If you look it up, it's called The Photograph is the name of that song, The Photograph by the Chapmans. So look it up and listen to their version. They do a great job. Dottie Hildebrandt, you are sounding pretty good, my friend. The squirrels would be so happy. I better watch out. They may be coming here attacking the building. You just never know. Bill Mumbo, how many ears did Davy Crockett have? He had a left ear, a bright ear, and a wild front ear. That's funny. Bill's old joke recycling service. Yeah, there you go. I just watched well, that wasn't on Davy Crockett now I think about it. I've been watching these, there's a series called Out West or something like that. It's kind of like a docu-series. It's on YouTube, and I don't know, they got all kinds of guys on there. Kit Carson, I watched one on him, and I think Daniel Boone, and a bunch of others. I mean, I've watched at least a half a dozen of those. I thought those are great, and it kind of reminds me when you said Davy Crockett there. I've been watching those recently. In fact, I watched another one this morning, and you know me and names. I can't think of the guy's name. It was a name I really hadn't heard of, but he was very prominent mountaineer. I don't know. I can't remember the names. It's terrible. Ben Boyd, not Garth Brooks, but a light years closer to him than to Alvin the Chipmunk. Yeah, Garth Brooks would be pretty hard to top. I consider him right at the top. Of the modern country stars, it kind of, for me, it kind of stopped with him, like Alan Jackson and Brad Paisley. It kind of stopped there. After those guys, it's just not music anymore. And some of you might think that way about Garth, but I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for Garth. I really do. I just have respect all over the place for Garth Brooks. It started when I saw him do an interview, and forgive me, folks from overseas in Europe there, but I believe he was in Ireland, and the reporters were making fun of the old-time country people like Hank Snow. They were talking about they sing through their nose and they don't, they sound like this and all that. And Garth grabs the mic. I mean, he just lunges at him and he grabs the mic, and he was mad. You could tell. And he says, "You boys better stop right now." He says, "I'm standing on the shoulders of those boys." And he says, "I won't put up with it." And I mean, he just stopped them right there in their tracks. They didn't know whether to, what or go blind. So from that point on, I was a Garth Brooks fan. And then I not too long ago, and I think I told you guys about this, not too long ago, maybe 6 months ago, something like that, I saw where he had a 2-hour on stage solo. In other words, it was just him and his guitar. And I thought, that won't be any good. I'll watch 5 minutes of that, and I watched the whole darn thing. How one guy could keep your attention by himself on stage with just a guitar, golly, it was awesome. It seriously was good. It really was. If you haven't seen it, you should just go watch it. And then he did bring his wife out, Tricia, for a little while, but for the most part, it was just him. It was killer. Let's see, Bob. GM from Newfoundland, Canada, going to be 12 here today. Wow. That's kind of chilly. Yeah, but Newfoundland, you're up north, You guys are supposed to have those kinds of temperatures. We're not supposed to have that down here. And boy, we've been having our share. I mean, it was single digits for quite a few days in a row. Okay, Rubbish Guitar Bloke is the guy's username. I thought I was another hater here for a second. I had my patients tested yesterday. I'm negative. Oh, that's funny. Bad Bob, Jerry, I just Googled it. They actually say a squirrel makes a barking, squeaking, and chirping sound. Yeah, maybe. I don't hear any chirping sounds in squirrels. I've listened to them my whole life. In fact, I can tell when a squirrel, you believe what you want, but I'm seriously telling you, I can tell when a squirrel is seeing a hawk. I can tell when a squirrel is seeing a coyote, and I can sometimes even tell the difference between the coyote and the bobcat from their barks. So you're talking to somebody who's listened to squirrels. I don't know if I should admit that, but I did. And I can tell, man. In fact, I get my gun up based on their bark because I know what's coming. And like they'll bark at a deer. And on a deer, they have a slow bark. It's like a like that. They just bark at them and they just keep it up. And you need to start watching because there could be a deer coming. It doesn't work every time, but it's in the 75 percentile. And I've shot a lot of deer based on what the squirrel was doing. So anyway, it's, you can believe what you want, but I know quite a bit about squirrels. Newton Horn, you know what they call an unmarried musician? Homeless. Yeah, that's for sure. A bit of trivia. I watched a video this morning. Did you know, I bet you nobody here knows this, unless you've seen this video. Did you know there are 28, I'm going to say that one more time, 28 Rosetta Stones? I had no idea. I thought there was one Rosetta Stone found by, Napoleon's army or whatever. And that's kind of the myth, is there's just one Rosetta Stone. Well, what it was the Rosetta Stone was a decree, and it was sent out throughout the kingdom, or the Egypt, whatever, that territory, and wherever he had control, apparently. And it was a decree that was supposed to be, chiseled in stone throughout the whole kingdom. And so there were multiples. The most recent one was found, I think they said 2016 or it was 2011. I can't remember now. I'm getting my dates mixed up. But anyways, it was fairly recent, the most recent one that was found. So the first one was found by Napoleon, but there's been a bunch of other ones found since then. I didn't know that. So that didn't cost you any extra, by the way. You just never know what you're going to learn when you come here. Charlie Rostrom, how many bass players does it take to change a light bulb? Just the one, but it's covering that little mark's covering something there, but the guitarist has to show him how to do it first. Yeah, well, if you're a musician, you kind of get that. The Outboard Tinkerer says, Jerry, Zach Brown is as good as anybody ever. Best talent in decades. Glenn. Jerry, I don't know who Zach Brown is, I don't think. So I'll take your word for it. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't have much today, guys, because like I said, all I did was work on that video, and I'll basically, as soon as we're done here, I was going to work on it again. But I thought I would do one more song, and just for Renee. He wants to hear it so bad. I thought I'd do one more song. And then while I'm doing that song, if you have any questions, we'll go through them, and if not, we'll call this good. Close enough for me. Might not be close enough for a real musician. Yeah, I don't think the squirrels can tell the difference. Just a few old memories slipped in through my door, though I thought I had closed it so tightly before, and I can't understand it, why it should bother my mind, for it all belongs to another place and time. Just a few old keepsakes way back on the shelf. No, it don't mean nothing. I'm surprised they're still left. Just a few old love letters with their edges all brown, and an old faded picture I keep turned upside down. Just a few just a few old memories going way back in time. I can hardly remember. I don't know why I'm crying, and I can't understand it, why I'm surprised at myself. First thing tomorrow morning, I'll clean off that shelf. Just a few old keepsakes way back on the shelf. No, it don't mean nothing. I'm surprised they're still left. Just a few old love letters with their edges all brown, and an old faded picture keep turned upside down. Well, I, made a few bobble mistakes there, but like I said, I can't play guitar for nothing. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I hope Bill likes it. That didn't look right. Better do that again. Yep. Well, let's see. Did we have any more comments or questions while I was doing that there? Bruce Ducker says, there's a band of squirrels hanging around my window. What are they up to? Jeff Puris, could you get Cash to make another appearance? I think a lot of us really enjoy him. Yeah, well, we might be able to do that on another live show one of these days. Dottie says, absolutely beautiful. That last song was by, had it on the tip of my tongue. Hazel Dickens. Hazel Dickens, that's who that wrote that song. John C., I have no idea why I watched Jerry's stream of consciousness, but I learned something today. There was Rosetta Stone. Bill Dedrick, did you rectify the two close nut slots on the E and B strings? Did you make a new nut? No, I did not. They're really not that close. I looked at it again, measured it. It's not really close. It just kind of maybe looks that way a little bit. What the problem is, if there is any problem, is the nut itself. All the strings are pinched in a little. And when I say pinched in a little, I mean they could be spread out a little bit more. But honestly, making that nut takes more time than all those repairs I did, all the fret job I did, and all the cosmetic stuff I did. Just the nut will take longer than all of that. So I just don't want to deal with the nut. I'm not really charging him, so I just don't want to do it, I mean, if he really wants the nut, well, I'll do it, but to me it plays like a dream. I don't see why he would have a problem with it. If he's got big fingers, I guess I get that. His fingers are bigger around than mine. My hands are probably bigger lengthwise than his, but anyway, it plays really good, I think. And it's really not bad at all. In fact, it's as good as any standard guitar you'll run into. Bill Dedrick, no, I already read that one. Okay, well, I guess that's it, guys. 145 viewers. We lost a few on that last song. Okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow with something. I don't know what it'll be. I'm going to get busy on this video and try to get it finished. We'll see you soon. Thanks.